FM.
Thank you all very much for staying with us here on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I'm glad to bring you another Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, and also live on my Joy Online TV on YouTube. So we're coming in on the back of some super fantastic commentary last night, as Manchester City saw of Los Blancos Real Madrid to make it to the next stage of the UEFA Champions League. And remember, when it comes to English radio commentary, it's Joy Sports and your superstation Joy 99.7 FM in collaboration with our partners DSTV Super Sport. And of course, the action continues this weekend. We are going all the way to the big final, so you have to continue to stay with us. And of course, the activity continues on Joy Sports as we bring you today's Joy Sports link and bring you the big discussions. And it's only here. I'd like to say thank you to all of you for keeping it here and keeping us relevant all the time. Two key happenings during the week. The much-awaited verdict by the Court of Arbitration for Sport did not come off as expected, and of course it's been pushed forward a second time. The new date that has been given to the rest of the sporting world, and for that matter Ghana and the parties involved, that is the Ghana Football Association and Mr. Wilfred Osekweku, also known as Palmer, is September 4. Now, while we wait for that, we'll be gauging the opinions and the views of persons in sport, and also taking a look at whether it really has any effect or will make any difference. And also, getting into the possible reasons why we're seeing such, prolonged waits for the announcement of this major verdict. Also, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, after that long wait, have finally settled on Nana Yaw Amponsah, the former Ghana Football Association presidential candidate. He has a 5-year development plan for the Porcupine Warriors, which would make the club the desired one in terms of its outlook, in terms of its performance, and in terms of its profitability. Today, we will be joined here by the editor of the Graphic Sports newspaper, Mr. Morris Kwanzaa, who is also the vice president of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. He will also be joined by former editor of the Kotoko Express, Jerome Ochre, as we take a look at all of these issues and others. Key thing as well is that during the week, the main body for sports writers in Ghana, which is the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, turned 52. Over the years, the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, SWAG, has been at the forefront of putting authority on its toes and making sure that key decisions are taken, and of course that the sports writers body influences as well major decisions that are taken in the interest of sports development here in the country. So today we're taking a look at all of these issues and more. But as usual, we will start it all off with the tracks. Of course, it's Formula One 70th anniversary. And of course, we're looking forward to that big 70th anniversary Grand Prix at Silverstone. Another, confirmed case again of COVID affecting one of the drivers as well. And of course, all other major developments. There's a major celebration tomorrow at Nesta Square. And as usual, Dr. Santia Pia, the president of the BMW Club in Ghana, and also Kwabena Poku, who is the coordinator of F1 Ghana, are here with me in the studio. Okay, so also news that came in indicates that Juventus have parted ways with their manager Maurizio Sarri after they were knocked out of the UEFA Champions League yesterday. So Cristiano Ronaldo's renewed bid to win yet another UEFA Champions League was botched last night, and Maurizio Sarri, the man at the technical helm, has been axed. Yes, he's been sacked. So all of these developments and more are here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Doc. We'll begin with you because the celebration here in Ghana, the commemoration of F1's 70th anniversary, will begin with the BMW Club tomorrow, who are starting it all off. Run us through what will be done.
Oh yes, tomorrow morning we are meeting at Airport Shell, and we have a drive through town, and we distribute, anti-corona things, face masks and things to disadvantaged communities, and then we'll come back to Nesta Square, where we sit in our cars and watch the Grand Prix live. Wow, interesting stuff there.
What's the strength of the membership now for the BMW Club Ghana?
Oh, we are quite a lot. I think we are about 400 people.
Wow, interesting.
Yes, we are about 400 people, and then we have a whole hierarchy. We are affiliated to the BMW International Club.
I see.
We attend annual general meetings. We are getting there slowly.
I see. Interesting stuff there.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get to the developments. I mean, let's begin with practice. With practice 2, Hamilton is looking very, very good as usual, and looks like he's going to do a double in 7 days at Silverstone. Looking very, very good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's looking very. I watched practice 2 yesterday, 1 and 2 actually, and the Mercedes are looking stronger by the day. And Nana actually passed the comment just before we entered that. I mean, Hamilton is on the roll. It's like he's been freshly unleashed onto Formula One. And again, I've always said that he's just like Tiger Woods and Muhammad Ali. He's one of the few people who actually brought Formula One into a mainstream sport where people are loving the sport. People who don't even like the sport watch it once and they love it, and everybody wants to see Hamilton and all that. And because of what's currently going on, he's giving one of his best performances in his career. I mean, for them to even take practice 2 and actually even take practice 3, same positions, it shows you how strong that Mercedes-Benz team is.
Wow, interesting stuff there. And Doc, before we came on air, we were discussing, motivation. Motivation to keep carrying on. Last night there was the development, the major developments ahead of the games that were played in the UEFA Champions League, and there was talk about how, lately Gareth Bale, for instance, is losing interest gradually in playing football. He was, somewhere playing his golf, thinking about himself, and not even really interested in what was going on with his club. And someone was raising the argument that, well, he's won it before, he's seen it before, so, And then you compare him to a Cristiano Ronaldo who, after winning it and winning several other trophies, and several other major silverware, is still pushing to do it, in another terrain, which is in Italy, And so I'm putting all of this against what Lewis Hamilton is doing in Formula One, and how he just seems to be having this, last week's drama was amazing. At that last stretch, anything could have happened with that burst front tire and the faulty engine and the sparks under the car. What extra thing is it, Doc?
The guy is, he's always been quiet and suffering in silence in terms of racism and all these things that go around. And this year, he's been giving the platform to make a lot of noise because of the opportunity that came. Everybody was at home. There was the virus, and then out of the blue, we see a black man dying in public on the streets. So all these things are anger and things that has been boiling on inside him, and he knows that to be able to do what he's doing in that sport, especially when leaders in the sport are telling him that, oh, you are lucky, we tolerated you, so you are here, keep quiet. There's a quiet anger burning inside him, and he wants to overdo what every other person has done. I think that is his most motivation. You can compare him to the likes of Jesse Owen, Muhammad Ali, and co. When you get to that level and you realize the power you have and the numbers of people who are suffering in the world because of the way they look. Yesterday, for example, he said he's not interested too much in his contract because of the monies and figures involved, whilst people don't have food. So the guy has taken a different fight. He wants to bring diversity and inclusivity into his sport. He wants to leave a legacy, and that is what is driving him.
Well, a lot to look forward to tomorrow. There's no doubt about that, and of course, coronavirus issues as well ahead of.
Yes. We all know Perez driving for Racing Point was supposed to have been back for this weekend. I think they waited on a test on Thursday, and he tested positive again, even though he's asymptomatic. So Nico Hülkenberg gets a second chance to prove himself in tomorrow's 70th anniversary race. And the best side of tomorrow's event is that. The other side of it is that we hear Vettel is also talking to the owners of Racing Point, now going to be Aston Martin. So the dynamics over there will be funny. Are they going to leave Perez, take Nico, or take Vettel? It's a very dynamic thing. And the other transfer news was also that Bottas has renewed his contract for another 1 year in Mercedes, showing that Mercedes may probably decide to let him go after 2021, and the dynamics will be very, very funny to watch, going into 2021 and all that. So, tomorrow the racing is going to show up a whole lot. It will start from this qualifiers this afternoon for us to see what to expect tomorrow.
Interesting stuff there.
And the race is going to be very different because they've given them softer tires. So it is very likely they'll do 2 stops. That will make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Doc, I love your instincts, and I know when sometimes when you give us the order in which it's likely going to wrap up, it comes to pass. And of course, let me say a very good afternoon to my very good friend Mr. Frimpong, aka Buffalo. Last week he gave me the order, and it was clean and same. So Doc, tell me, in terms of the finish, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas.
Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas, all things being equal. Corner.
So, I'm looking at Hamilton, Bottas, and probably Verstappen. And I'm also hoping the Racing Point team will show up tomorrow, and make a difference. It will be exciting at Leicester Square. For people coming through over there. If I can just give a small idea of what to expect, because from as Doc was saying, the BMW club and members will go out to do education and give out stuff, and they will all get back to Leicester Square by 11. So by 11, we are parking our cars at Leicester Square. It's a full drive-through viewing party. The screen is on the car park. You park your car. There will be waiters around to serve food, drinks from Heineken.
I see.
And then
but Nana, what about the overflow? What's going to happen in the event of an overflow?
Okay, so Leicester Square, uniquely, Leicester Square has a very big underground car park.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is that the cars will be moved to the underground, and then people will have to come and stand at intervals.
Oh, intervals. Very well. Very well.
So that they can actually watch. So the overflow, we are expecting some form of overflow, but then we made provisions for that. And in terms of corona, there will be enough hand sanitizers around. Lifebuoy from Unilever is setting up a whole hand washing bay at the venue where you can wash your hands as many times as we encourage you to. And also, we're just to thank a few people who've been very generous enough to help us with this particular one. And the first one, obviously, Nana Santiapia, been right opposite me, and Koja Dimensa Data Bank Group.
Yeah.
We have Johnny Coleman, Mr. JC, the famous Ferrari fan on our platform. Also, Isaac from Vivo. We have Selom Banti from Imani, Eric Handel from the CEO of Starbites, and a few other people. And Kojo, let me mention Kojo Opong from BMW, who's been very, very instrumental, your man. Who's been very, very instrumental in putting this whole thing together. And the folks from Mask for All, the industry players, or the entertainment industry players from Mask for All. They're also coming along with Mask here and there. And I mean, as usual, Labadi Beach Hotel will be present, Starbites will be present, DSTV, of course, DSTV and Supersport way behind us. And then overall, Joy FM, Joy 99.7 FM, our official media partners are coming along tomorrow to cover the event as well. So we're expecting a lot of people for the first drive-through. We have 2 more after this one. 2 more events like this after this one.
Okay, Silverstone. Let's see how Silverstone goes. Good afternoon to you, Nana Mantiao, also known as Click. Nana Mantiao is a presidential staffer. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for always doing the listening. And Kwabna Frempong Buffalo has sent a message. He says, Charlie, bro, Mercedes is on fire. My man Lewis Hamilton is just unstoppable. Okay, well, let's see what happens tomorrow. And you know, I'm just quickly asking you this to wrap it up. I mean, what were the fans saying in the hall when the tire got burst and when
the tire went off, the first
you said Hail Mary about 300 times.
I said he's a champion. He will drive to finish. He will win the race. Because when Potter's tire went off, he went off with the car. But when Hamilton's own went off, he didn't go off. He was quickly fiddling with things on his steering, locking up his differentials, and he didn't slow down,
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
He was driving.
The guy was driving 230
on 3 legs, 230 kilometers.
Yeah.
230 miles per hour. Amazing. Ron said, we are seeing something that a few years back we would say, yes, this guy was a legend.
Okay.
Hamilton is on fire, man. Hamilton is on fire.
Oh, you should see the video at Lamadi Beach Hotel.
Okay, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Let's see how it goes tomorrow. Thank you so much. We will be there. Our cameras will be there. And, of course, you'd have to see the highlights on all of our platforms, on Joy News, on Joy Prime, and all of our other platforms in the coming week. All right. Thank you very much. Kwabna Poku. I will be there. I will be there. All right, so we'll get on the phone line before getting into the other discussions for today. Let's quickly have a conversation about Mauricio Sarri's sack from Juventus and what may have possibly caused it, aside the loss, because of course, I mean, clubs go into this competition and they crumble. I mean, look at Real Madrid, the biggest achieved club in the UEFA Champions League. Gary L. Smith has joined me on the phone line. Gary, great stuff last night. It was wonderful and refreshing listening to you guys. We enjoyed every single decisecond of the action. Great stuff.
Yeah, good to be back on the Champions League as well, and to accompany the 90 minutes drama. Obviously, we're going to have more storylines when the game is done, just like we are having in the last 20 to 30 minutes that Mauricio Sarri has been sacked from Juventus.
Now, so why? Sarri ball just didn't work at Juventus? Is that it?
No, I think that it's a cornucopia of factors. I mean, it first of all speaks to how demanding Juventus and teams like that, how big it can be and how demanding it can be that you win the league, but you still get sacked, And Mauricio Sarri will tell you right now, if you interviewed him, that he has had the weakest squad to win the Scudetto of all the 9 they have won. If you look at all the 9 they have won, this squad is clearly, if you pick it 11 for 11 against all the other 8, the weakest they've had, and that has been the problem. Part of it, he would tell you, is because of the owner Agnelli, who is not investing in the club in the way that fans and he, Sarri, primarily would have wanted. So you see, you have a very thin squad. Remember, they even had to go to Serie C to be able to get a striker who has scored only 4 goals to help them out. That is how much they were not, buying players and augmenting their squad at the moment. And then Juventus fans would not be happy about the fact that they've let Miralem Pjanic go because he's leaving for Barcelona, as you know, right after these ones. So that is where Sarri will come from. But others will tell you that Sarri himself is a problem because a lot of Juve fans feel that this guy simply was not good enough to be able to utilize the talent at his disposal. So yes, Sarri may have a point about the fact that the squad was thin, about the fact that the system was not buying the kinds of players that he wanted. But people also feel that other coaches like Allegri were able to, at least every coach before Sarri, Antonio Conte, Allegri, were able to win at least doubles with the kind of squads they had. And if you have Ronaldo and some of the players you have in this first team, you should be able to do better than at least a round of 16. And it's not just the fact that he exited the round of 16, that's the problem, some fans would say. The way he even won the league was not convincing enough. It matters in places like Spain and Italy and Germany. If you are Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or Barcelona, you have certain players and certain squads. You are expected to dominate to a certain extent, and he wasn't able to do that. So all these are part of the reasons that people say that he does not really inspire confidence in the dressing room, because if you look at the speeches of some of the key players in Juventus, it does not sound like after games they have an absolute belief in the player that you see other top level footballers do. For example, Real Madrid's players will do for Zidane, even when they lost yesterday. You could tell the absolute faith they had in him, or the way Man City's players will do for Pep Guardiola, even when he lost the league, and so on. You don't get that communication from the Juventus players that this is somebody they want to rally around, especially for the next season, as we ready ourselves for a September kickoff of Serie A and all that.
Well, not too early to ask, is it? So where do we go from here? Exactly. I mean, hey,
so the rumor mill is already churning out names, and the number one is Mauricio Pochettino. But the thing about Mauricio Pochettino is that after his experience with Spurs, if I am Mauricio, and definitely that's what he would do, he's not going to inherit this team in the form that it is now, so threadbare and so thin. I don't think he would make that quote-unquote mistake without any guarantees. So he would ask for Agnelli and the Juve board to spend big. Heck, even at Inter Milan, whose owners have spent quite a bit, Antonio Conte is complaining. How much more at Juventus, who will look to augment the squad with equally good players to help Ronaldo lift things, and Ronaldo and others lift things as well. So I'm sure that is the number one thing that Pochettino will ask for. But apparently, Juve has gotten in touch with the Argentine manager, and talks are ongoing. So we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, there's the perpetual presence of Allegri. He did wonders with the team, even when the squad were not good. He was able to take them to a couple of Champions League finals. So he is somebody who, for me personally, under the circumstances,
obviously, sure,
I'd go for Allegri, because as bad as Juve are politically, he understands the political madness. He understands,
and will obviously have the temperament to deal with this better than
Thank you very much. You cannot say enough of Pochettino, because he would want guarantees, but Allegri understands the system. He can make compromises here and there. And so, from a purely realistic point of view, I'd go for Allegri. But if guarantees are given to Pochettino, of course, he's going to bring exciting football to Juventus if he is given the money and he's given the leeway to do that. So for the moment, these are the two top names that are in the hat at the moment.
Well, obviously we're going to be doing some more, but give us take us into very quickly, the next big one for us here at Joy Sports when it comes to commentary.
Yes, in about 6 hours we'll be having the game for today. We have two games, obviously. There's Bayern versus Chelsea. We'll be doing updates of that because clearly we have a large Chelsea constituency here in the country. So if we don't give them updates, I'm sure they'll be marching up to Kokomileme and let us hear it. But our featured game today is Barcelona versus Napoli, and that is what we'll be doing today. Cristiano is out. Will Leo Messi be having one up on him as well? And just as a teaser, we have heard that Barcelona, as it stands, have bought a special coronavirus-inducing or a coronavirus prevention mattress for their top players. Now, what happens is that players like Messi and others, there's a Spanish company that is manufacturing mattresses with some particles inside that can kill the COVID-19 virus in up to 4 hours if you contract it. Because they cannot afford to lose any of their top players.
At this stage?
The squad is also shorn of certain good players, and at the moment you can't afford to lose players like Messi. So they've procured this mattress for not everybody in the team, but selected top players just to increase their chances of immunity.
Charlie, we need to go get these mattresses.
Why they born you for us? So we have live commentary at 7 p.m. The build-up starts at 6:30, Nathaniel.
Very well, and of course that will be after, George and the rest of the crew. I mean the George Quay, not George Attoh Jr. So George Quay does Showbiz A to Z after me, and then George Attoh Jr. and Gary Al Smith join us. Gary, thank you so much. Gary Al Smith. He's the lead summarizer on our commentary team, also led by George Attoh Jr. Great stuff later this evening, and of course great stuff all the time on this network. Two great young gentlemen are here with me in the studio, and Jerome Ottre has been functioning very, very effectively on the side of communication, and of course he has led the charge at the club's official mouthpiece, which is the Kotoko Express, for some years now. He's been following every single bit of the movement on the administrative tables, on the pitch, and elsewhere. And he has thoughts on this new path that Kumasi Asante Kotoko wants to tow. Also, as I mentioned earlier, the Sports Writers Association of Ghana is 52 years this year. Now, what is the direction after 52 years of the lifespan? We'll be getting into that in a bit with no less person, but the Vice President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, Morris Kwanzaa, who is also the editor of the Graphic Sports newspaper. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to have you again. And to know that there are anti-COVID anti-COVID mattresses
where some people have reached. I don't know what will take us there. I mean,
99.7 FM.
It's incredible.
Morris, maybe your cap can also be an anti-COVID cap,
No, it's actually the crazy times we live in, and we do whatever. It's about survival. We've moved into the survival mode. So whatever it takes to survive, it's very important.
And they have the means to get extraordinary things done.
Well, let's see how all of it goes. It also just tells you, how high the stakes are, in this COVID-ridden UEFA Champions League season as well. We'll bring you all of that later on in the evening, but let's throw the focus on other things. Gentlemen, let's begin from the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. Morris, 52 years of the organization, many years of encouraging our sportsmen and women to reach the top, and also always influencing the narrative when it comes to what authority should be doing regarding sports development in the country. After 52 years, what's the direction of the Sports Rights Association of Ghana?
Thank you, Nat. It's good to be here once again. 52 years in the life of any organization, professional body, corporate, whatever, even as individuals, it's no mean achievement. Gone 5 decades plus. Some of us joined somewhere almost halfway through the life of SWAG, even though as a young man. In fact, I was quite young. I remember I followed my dad to one SWAG. Then they were having it at the Bukum nightclub. Now, then Continental Hotel, they had this.
Yeah. Jerome, you know the Continental Hotel, right?
Yeah. Now Golden Chili.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, Golden Chili.
I know.
But you know Continental Hotel.
I don't. I know Golden Chili. Boris is a senior, so all the things.
Yeah, I see my producer Benedict smiling through his his mask.
And so Swag has had a great influence on Ghana sports, and going forward, we need to look at how we can positively influence the narrative. You realize that a lot of the older generation, some have passed on to eternity, some because of age are no longer in active practice, they are in retirement. So we talk about, the Nana Attoh Chums, the first SWAG President Joe Latte, subsequently Mr. Willie Kwating has passed on to glory, but we still have Ohiniba Charles Nyakun around, popularly known as Ohiniba Charles. Big Joe Agri is around.
Mr. Akanthony.
Mr. Akanthony, the predecessor, Ebu
Kwanzaa, yes.
And then now we have the writer in charge. So the old guys are there to guide us. We also have a very strong council of patrons, chaired by Mr. Malcolm Attefield, Walter Esposito, so many people, Mr. Kofi Bedu, the chief of staff at the Menchia Palace. But going forward, you realize we also have a lot of younger ones. I'm also one of the young ones, though.
Even though you were at Continental Hotel.
And so sports journalism itself has changed. Technology has changed so many things. Technology has opened avenues, created avenues for so many people to come in. When we joined in the mid-90s, there were just a few. Then we didn't have that many private radio stations. The internet was just coming up, so we just had a few. Now we've opened it up, so it requires that the more experienced ones guide some of them. Some have not gone through training. For me, training, I mean both on-the-job training and then going to school. So we need to see how best you can manage them. And also because the narrative has changed. The way and manner we present sports has changed. And so, there are ethical and other considerations. So, as an association, it's something we're doing. The current administration, headed by Kwabena Yeboah, one of the things we are taking seriously is a lot of training. We're doing some training this year, but for the COVID, so it's changed it a bit. I was in Kumasi with my brother and colleague member, Michael Otieje, and one of our members who's now General Secretary of the GFA, Prosperity Nado, Samtaima Utua Champon, who is a Kumasi
President.
The Ashanti Regional Branch. Ashanti Regional Branch, because now we don't want it to look like an Accra-based association. We are inaugurating other regional bodies to cater for the needs of them within the regions, and then the national body as a whole. We're partnered by Betway, so we did one in Kumasi, one in Accra. We were planning to do some in the other regions, and then this COVID thing came in, so we've put it on hold. But going forward, there's going to be more training and mentorship, because it's very key going forward.
Thank you. So we would be doing some more. There's going to be a time where we're going to have yourself, Kwabena Eboa, and a few more of the executive here, so that we delve some more into the operations of SWAG and what we want to do to affect the development of sport going forward. Let's now take a listen to the man at the helm, the man who's been topping the headlines in the last 24 hours following his confirmation as new CEO of Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Every mighty building was laid brick by brick. If you think of it as a whole, it appears impossible to achieve. But if you look at it in terms of brick by brick, then you know that it is very achievable. If you hire a mason to put up a building for you, you have to do all you can to ensure that you give him the support to put up a very good edifice that will last generations to come. Otherwise, when he's done and leaves one day, you will be the one living in that building. You must give me all the support I need so that I can help build an edifice that will go beyond boundaries. Asante Kotoko for now is the biggest club in Ghana, no doubt. And for me, it's about the third biggest in Africa in structure. But unfortunately, same cannot be said of its content. I'm here to help the board and the entire football fraternity to match this superstructure with befitting contents. I dare say that Asante Kotoko is bigger than MTP and NDC. Asante Kotoko transcends geographical boundaries. Kotoko is a culture. The joy this club gives its teaming supporters cannot be matched by any political party in Ghana. I therefore plead with you to give me double of the support that you give your individual political parties of choice, and we will make Asante Kotoko great again. I've had the benefit to travel far and wide. I've engaged more than 100 football clubs across the globe, and not many come close to the size of Asante Kotoko. It is time to roar to the world and prove that we have a great kingdom and it has a great quarter club. We will use this local club to promote the rich culture and history of Asante Kingdom. We will create jobs for the youth of Asante in particular and Ghana as a whole. Asante Kotoko has a huge potential to create a enabling environment for businesses to thrive. We all know what happens to food vendors and their businesses when we lose matches. We will use Kotoko to significantly increase the food basket of Asante Kingdom and attract direct foreign investment into this territory. Imagine each district in the Asante Kingdom had one Asamoah Gyan, contributing to the economy like the Great BBJ does in creating employment and building infrastructure. Key to our approach will be youth development so that we can create and develop players and football industry professionals who have Asante man at heart and possess the passion to see this great kingdom flourish. We cannot afford to fail. Kinako, Imre. Thank you very much. And I say, Asante Kotoko, Asante Kotoko,
Okay, so Nana Yamponsa singing that, chanting that, Asante Kotoko, melody in what, F sharp or C major? Gentlemen, interesting. You know, one very key thing that struck me in that acceptance address was that Asante Kotoko is the third largest in terms of structure on the African continent. It strikes me because, I mean, immediately when you throw, you cast the die across the continent, you see, I mean, way more than 3 or 4 who are, I mean, from Al Ahly to Zamalek to TP Mazembe, Mamelodi Sundowns, all of these clubs. And we're saying that Asante Kotoko is the third largest in terms of its structure. How accurate could we be if we're saying that? I'm Morris. Let's begin with you.
Of course, the platform sometimes is like when you're on the political platform, you need to say the right thing to excite people. But you see, Kotoko is a big club. Kotoko is a big club with so much untapped potential. I've also had the benefit of traveling, not that wide, but across the continent, and even in Africa, when you travel, you mentioned TP Mazembe, so I'll go to DR Congo. Because of Kotoko's engagement with Congolese team Englebert now, they revere Kotoko. You go to Egypt, where we have some of the biggest institutions, go to Algeria, go to Morocco. But unfortunately, Kotoko has its own issues. So the potential has not been able to, they've not been able to tap into that huge potential. So a lot of things are speculation. Yeah, they talk about Kotoko being bigger than MPP and DC. I'm sure you're looking at how many votes they get at the end of each election cycle. But even that, we hear people say Kotoko has this number of supporters, but all these things, there are no scientific basis. Because we know, they are big. It's because as a club, they have not put in the structure to be able to scientifically analyze all these things and put them together and know the real value of the brand. We know what the potential value is, but scientifically, there isn't enough data to see that Kotoko is this big or that big.
Interesting you bring that up. Jerome, you have been in the thick of all of this. So do we really have, empirical data to back some of these claims?
No, we don't.
So as we sit here, we're still in the first week of August 2020. We still do not know how many fans or how many registered fans Asante Kotoko has. It will be a struggle to establish that?
Yeah, of course, because we've not done any work that will lead us to that point.
I see.
I know the circles at some point, and circles are the official supporters group. At some point tried it. I remember on 2 occasions they've had plans to get it done. And
what was their challenge? If you can let us in on that.
Basically about leadership, because for everything, and that's my opinion, you need a certain level of leadership to drive it. If you put it in place and you do not get the necessary leadership strength to push it, it's bound to fail at some point. And that is what the case has been when it comes to collecting data on Asante Kotoko. Because I remember in the days of Herbert Mensah, there was that enthusiasm all of a sudden when he came on board, because he was one personality who had the charisma, who had the ideas, the energy, everything to pull all of us on board. And it was much easier for him to do it because of the kind of personality he was. Unfortunately, after that, to this point, we've not really got that thing done. I remember KK Sapon also tried it. That support to win agenda. It was very positive, but unfortunately, he also didn't last. On the throne. So it's been difficult doing it because of the sort of inconsistencies we've experienced in our leadership front. And yesterday, for instance, in Nanaya's speech, I heard him talk about Kotoko Census Project.
Yes.
It immediately brought my mind to these things we've been talking about.
Sure.
And for me, it's a positive thing. How he's going to do it, I'm sure with time he will come up with the details. But then it is something that must be done, and it can be done. The point about Kotoko being bigger than the political parties, see, let's group all the political parties we have, and we can get numbers for each. I mean, to a certain level, and let's call out Kotoko supporters in those groups and see where they will come from. They will come from all the political parties. So it gives me the impression that that statement is true. And I think Herbert at some point even made references to that argument about Kotoko being bigger than our political parties. And I won't fault that. What is there for me to pick is that we have a large, number of people following the club. Unfortunately, we've not been able to tap into that massive support base to get the best out of them. Kotoko fans are known to be very generous. In fact, they are one group of people, it's even difficult to describe how kind they are.
So I'll quickly talk about kindness. You hold that point there. Morris, guys, in one of my interviews with the legendary Joe Latte, who is the first president of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, recently we celebrated his birthday, he mentioned to me that in preparing to run commentary, he had to go there 3 days to time to get in camp news and all of that. So one day he went to get lunch from a restaurant bar, One person walked in and saw her, Kotoko fan walked in. Oh, Joe Latte, over to you. Che, Mumba Guinness one crate, no more fans starting.
So that is it. That generosity is there. I have seen a lot of fans queue at the stadium, and one person will get there, and because you are in a Kotoko replica,
he gets you your ticket.
He will select 5-10 people and pay for them.
Wow.
Go and support the club.
Wow.
So that is the kind of love people have for the club. And like I said, unfortunately, we've not been able to make use of this love. And so if Nanaya, for instance, mentions the fact that he's going to collect data on Kotoko supporters and see how that data can be used to generate revenue for the club, it can be done. There are people who have said that some of the things he said yesterday or he has said he would do are overambitious. No. Even the Menchia letter that appointed the board in May talks about the tax being given to the board as ambitious. So they know that, look, whatever we are asking you to do, we know is a big thing. But we also believe you can do it. That's why we are giving it to you. And I am convinced that given the right time, the support and the necessary resources, a lot of the things that they've spoken about can be done. If in the 60s people have thought of going to the moon and they believed it, they visualized it, they worked towards it, and how many years later? A couple of years later, they actually sent a man to the moon. It tells you that there is something we can not do if we set ourselves to do it.
Now, clearly you see a lot of backing, a lot of support, open, latent support being shown by the board, and you see Dr. Kwame Che, you see Mr. Boateng Jemfi, Dr. Kofi Aban, Mr. Brobe of Lexter Ghana, all of these people, everybody is just showing massive support. Now, thing is, Morris, realistically, what are the blocks that Nanayao is likely to face during this journey? Because we've spoken about consistency here, and that is one thing that has lacked greatly when it comes to running Kumasi Asante Kotoko. The man has a plan for the next 5 years. Is he able to deliver the 5 years, irrespective of what happens? Do you see that happening now, Morris?
Well, let's wait and see. It was good, like as you indicated, it was good to see Kwame Che and the Nanaya flanked by other board members. That was their first major assignment when they were appointed by Otumfuo to get a CEO and subsequently a management in order to execute the vision or the big plans or the dream Otumfuo has for his club. So that's the first assignment, but it's the beginning of a major task. What are the blocks he needs to face? I'd also noted it down. There's a lack of consistency. over the years, it's not because we've not had great men to run.
Joy 99.
I mean, even in my young life, I've seen so many great men. Even just look at the last 20 years. I mean, people who came with big vision, and you could see a certain movement. They are taking certain concrete steps towards. But Kotoko itself, from where I sit, the ownership structure itself sometimes poses a problem. I mean, whether you like it or not, Osumfo Osetu owns it. He's the sole shareholder of the club. You work at his pleasure. And then, I mean, he has council of advisors. So sometimes there are so many interests, power blocks, as you indicated, some from Asia, from the supporters, and so those are some of the things from where I sit that have undermined previous management, but we had great guys from the PVO being management through the KK Sapons, but you realize also that some of them, I mean, midway for whatever reasons are fired or they resign, and they live with a lot of pain, and you don't see that smooth handing over, that smooth takeoff. I mean, takeoff is not even the right. They don't hand over. You don't see that transition. So some of them start very good initiatives, but subsequent boards, subsequent management teams, you don't see them building on the achievements of others to achieve those common goals. So it's like start, stop. So that's why they've talked about the Kotoko. Is it census?
Yeah.
And they've done them different forms, different names. To some, they've achieved successes at certain point, but you don't see them building on previous achievement. You know, when Herbert came at a time when Attoh had taken over. He realized that, because I'm saying this because I was quite close to him, one of the things he did was to energize the supporter base. So you realize that he said, look, we are rebuilding. So that was a clarion call. Because he'll tell you that, look, Attoh had built a team out here. So you can't just knock them off their pitch. Like we're seeing in Liverpool. You've got to rebuild and keep assuring them. But even though they weren't winning the trophies, he got the supporter base energized. For once, you see the Kotoko fans wearing the Kotoko badge on their sleeve. There was a lot of excitement and pride. Because you need that. You need that to build on. You may have all those fanciful ideas, but you need that support base. Because if you want to turn it into a profitable brand, you need a fan base, and then that supported drive across the globe. Because if you want to turn into a global, unfortunately for Kotoko, there's been that kind of attrition in management vis-a-vis board, and for where I sit as a sports journalist, sometimes I don't see the bigger picture. They all come with fanciful ideas, but hey, you work at the pleasure of Otumfo. I'm wishing Nathaniel well. There's been a lot of excitement about Nathaniel. Because in the last few months, yes, this young man who was doing quite well as a intermediary FIFA, he had started a club project. He dared challenge the system. He wanted to be GFA president. He had a lot of fine ideas as to whether they were practical. But so now people are looking at this young man with a lot of ambition, a lot of ideas. So let's see how he's going to make this Kotoko project work. And then we'll see if it's possible he can be a future GFA chairman. So, but it's not just the ideas.
Yeah.
When you look at previous management, I mean, we can talk about Herbert Mensah, similar things. KK Sapon, they achieved a lot. Unfortunately, you don't see them building on the successes of those previous ones. So that
for you will be the challenge that you want to pose.
You need the strong backing of Menchia and the board, and he needs a certain peaceful environment. But you see, with Kotok, you need to be a strong man too. because there are too many power blocks, too many competing interests. And if you are not tough and you want to be Mr. Nice Man, you may not succeed.
Let's talk about the, and of course you can keep your messages coming in. Remember, it's 0244340437. 0244340437. If you're outside of Ghana, remember to prefix with +233. 0244340437 here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Greetings to all of our friends who are joining us via the live stream on My Joy Online TV on YouTube. Click and subscribe and always get us live when our shows are running here on this network. So very shortly I'll be getting on our WhatsApp console as well to share some of your messages and your suggestions that you have for the new CEO of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. George Quay says I shouldn't laugh at your singing. Okay, don't worry, your singing is fine. You see a lot of Infantipim solidarity as well. Nana Amposa is a former. He's an old boy of Infantipim school. So I'm Morris. You should get them to do a full page color ad in the graphic. Yeah. Anyway, that's just by the way. Morris mentioned something very critical here. I'm looking at a couple of things. The Hearts of Oak factor and how Hearts of Oak are dealt with on the pitch, and this is a silent rule that runs across in all parts of the world and in all football destinations, that your tenure is only secure when you are able to beat your arch rivals. So if things are not necessarily going well on the other side of administration, as for your arch rivals, make sure you beat them. How much of this is going to be applicable, during this era?
It has to be made clear that this is not something any administration at Kotoko can run away from. Every Kotoko fan out there would want to see Kotoko beating Hearts of Oak anywhere, anytime the two teams meet. But then we also have to understand that to be able to beat your opponent, you need a certain level of strength. Hearts of Oak, even if they are collapsing, will resurrect all of a sudden because it is Asante Kotoko they are going to play.
And it's interesting that in the last 24 hours as well, some 5 players have parted ways with the club.
One or two names in there worry me.
Same here.
But that's them. They can take care of their own problems. So you need a certain level of strength to compete, whether it's Hearts of Oak or any other team. But then to get there, certain things must be done. On any day, I would want to see Kotoko beating Hearts of Oak. But I also understand that for Kotoko to beat Hearts of Oak, Kotoko must do certain things. If it is recruitment, Kotoko must make sure Kotoko have what it takes to get the best out of, the best players out there. If it is coaching, Kotoko must get the best. If it is even branding, everything around Kotoko must be the best because we want to beat the best. That is to say, if Hearts of Oak is the best, if we want to beat them, we must do everything right to get to their level and beat them. If we go in once or let's say twice and we are not able to beat Hearts of Oak, that should not be the end of Asante Kotoko. That should not be the end of any management or any board that is running Asante Kotoko. So my thinking and my strategy has always been that once you come in, whatever agenda you have, whatever plan you have to run the club must be made clear. The fans must understand it. The fans must see you working on those plans so that it doesn't become like all you are in to do is to win matches. And so if you don't win matches, then you must go. But when the fans see that this man came in with, say, a 3-year plan, and he has clearly told us what he wants to do in every aspect of the game, when it gets to the point where on the field results are not coming, the fans, not all of them, but you may have a majority of them who would understand that because you came in with a plan and you have told us how you are going to work on things, if one aspect of your plan is not going well, you need time to get it done. The problem over the years has been that we have focused too much on winning on the field. And unfortunately, we've not done the things necessary to win on the field all the time. So if you don't get results on the field, there is, frustration, there is hopelessness. The fans feel that you have nothing to offer because that is what you are supposed to do and you're not doing it. I'm looking at this new administration, and for me that's one of my joy, that if not for anything, before he was given the job, he was asked to bring what he thinks he can use to get the club somewhere. And that for me is a clear departure from the era where people are appointed and you do not have a feel of what they will do to take the club from point A to point B. It has always been, I'm the club chairman, I'm the club leader. I will say something to the fans and the fans will be happy. Now we go onto the field and there is nothing to show for anything I said. For once, I feel that practice is going to end. It is going to end because here we have someone who has presented a document, and based on that document, he will be taking something and trying to do something for us. Let's not forget this. Before we reach this point, the owner of the club set up a committee to look into how things have been done. Of course, it was the Cloté saga that brought the committee. But from what I have observed, they looked at so many things, which got to, the point where it was nothing but the fact that things have not been done right. And I'm believing that because of that work done by the committee, this time we would want to correct all the things that we did in the past that were not good. And I'm confident things.
Well, okay. Jerome Otri is here with me in the studio, and he is a former editor of the Kotoko Express newspaper. What we're doing still. Where's this word former? Today, former is in my.
Sorry, you're funny.
I've done that a couple of times with a couple of people at some public events. I don't know. Anyway, so Maurice Kwanzaa is Vice President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. We're taking a close look at the new direction of Kumasi Asante Kotoko under Nathaniel Attoh. Your messages are welcome. Remember, it's +233 244 340 437. Maurice, very briefly. So, in effect, losing 3 straight games, league games, to Accra Hearts of Oak could spell an early exit. And this is obviously a hypothetical situation. It is possible that if Nathaniel Attoh's Kotoko loses 3 straight games to Accra Hearts of Oak, he could be on his way out. That's the reality, isn't it?
Well, these are some of the unwritten rules. And it's not just for Kotoko, for Hearts of Oak too. So that's where those days we say they find the ways and means to win. But you see, it's not just about the win. You need to win on the field to excite the fans and translate it into business outside the field. But it depends on the approach the leader takes. I remember what Herbert did very well, and because of perhaps his background, he's a very good communicator. He communicates his vision clearly. At least you have a sense of where he wants to take the club and how he wants to take the club. But what he did first was to rally the fans, because then, because they weren't winning a lot, so there was despondency. He managed to look, yes, I may be the leader, I may be the driver, but you own the club. Come on board and let's rally. We need. That's where then the Ibima. But you need to. He got the fans excited about his vision.
About the vision.
You need to communicate clearly where the club is. So you need to do some situational analysis. You do it with the board, but find a way of meeting the major stakeholders, the supporters, and how you communicate effectively. That look, we are at the point where. Now, yes, we're Kotoko. We last won our the last African Cup we won was in 1983. We are not there yet, but we have the potential to get there. You need to let them know what is on the ground so that they have realistic ambitions. Because as you indicated, sometimes 2-3 losses, because there are others who will fund those things. Because of the high attrition rate, look, people have vested interest, and if you try to block some of them, because for some people, they live on Kotoko in different ways. So if you try to block them at certain points, they might end up undermining you. But you need to communicate it well and then move along with them. Once you're able to get them behind you, like it happened to Herbert. Herbert, you remember there were times Kotoko, one of their biggest losses to Hearts. I remember that Wednesday, 4-0.
Right, it was the biggest.
Yes, it's been the biggest.
Yeah, the biggest. Yes. But even that, he made them understand that, look, and there was a little bit of propaganda because look, that Iti Mensah, the system was working against the GFA, so some of the fans bought into it. But it was another way of getting the fans behind him. That look, he knew that it wasn't easy just knocking Hearts off the pitch, but the vision was bigger than just beating Hearts of Folk.
Okay,
and that is one of the ways I believe in Nanaya, because you wouldn't have it your way all the time on the pitch, but you should let the fans know that the vision and the plan is bigger than just beating Hearts of Folk.
Now, you've mentioned two key areas: player recruitment and communication. Which other key areas, does Nanaya Amponsa need as a matter of urgency to concentrate on to move this in a realistic direction?
I think the technical area.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it fits into recruitment, but there is.
But he says that he's going to realign the technical. It's part of his mission statement.
For instance.
So what about the technical department does he need to work on?
I would want to see, for instance, if there's going to be a technical director who supervise the whole department of Kotoko.
This is okay. Sorry for cutting in. Okay. This is something that has hardly worked, especially with the Giants, Hearts and Kotoko. This structure has hardly worked, and I'm just imagining what's going to happen if we decide to go in that direction again.
So, for example, Maxwell Knedu is in charge of the senior team.
Yes.
There is Richard Menu and George Asari handling the youth team. If that arrangement is going to be kept, is it Maxwell's business, or is it going to be Maxwell's business to also supervise the activities of the two youth coaches? I think there should be clarity there, so that we know Maxwell is in charge, superintending over everything technical when it comes to Asante Kotoko. I think that is one clarity we would have maybe going forward. The other thing will be how to market the club, how to sell the Kotoko brand. And I won't pretend to be an expert in this area, but Kotoko would have to be communicated in such a way that when people hear of the club, they know it represents something big, or there is something big about the club. I have not liked the way we have communicated the club, and sometimes when you say it, it's like you are more or less hurting yourself. But the point is that even if you have good plans, if you do not sell those plans well to your public, they will not get what you mean.
And that's what will bring me to my next question. Selling the idea and managing, information between the club and its major stakeholders, which are the fans. Morris has spoken about communication and how Herbert Mensah got it right. There is a need for the management of communication at Kotoko.
Yeah.
You have been there, you've done a lot along the lines. I don't know if anybody has had a conversation with you yet.
Now I know where you are going.
Yes. Would you take up a role like that to help the cause?
No, questions like this are not answered publicly. But let me make this clear. On any day, I would want to do anything to help us.
So I take that as a yes. On any day, you do anything to help the club. Means yes.
No, it's not yes. It is to tell you that you can play other roles without necessarily being the club's head of communication.
Okay.
That has always been my position. But I strongly believe that the way we have communicated Kotoko, and I'm part of it. I mean, the way we have communicated Kotoko is not the best. On any day, I would say this anywhere, because I am convinced it can be done and done better than the way we have done it. Maybe radio is not the best place to tell, what I mean, but I'm saying that it can be done better than the way we have done it. Look, we have a newspaper, we have a website, we have an app, we have other social media accounts. It should be made functional. Yesterday when the event was going on, some of our fans were teasing us that even the way we are broadcasting the event, it's not the best. It's not the best because we don't have the right equipment to do it. So how do you get the necessary equipment to get these things done the way, for instance, Joy FM will do it?
Yeah, you know we're a powerful platform. Don't get surprised if you get a call after here that Charlie, come and get streaming equipment.
Oh, of course.
But streaming equipment. Get this done.
I have friends, I have cousins who previously were even wishing to donate items.
Yeah.
But it was a matter of confidence in the system. If they don't believe that you are doing the right things, they won't come. So I'm saying that it's a whole structure that we must look at and look at carefully and see how we can do the right thing.
You see, Jerome, sorry, but your thoughts are already aligned with this role I'm talking about. This whole communications director role. Now, when Kurt Okrako became president, we all speculated, eventually Henry Asantichum is there. He's working. Now Nana Amponsa has taken over at Kotoko. He would need somebody to manage the club's communication.
Yeah, and
you surely will be contacted, I know, because
I've said that. So there are so many roles we can play. You don't need to be the head to get certain things done.
Yeah, but you will still do anything to help, right?
Of course. Because we like the club, and not because we feel we can do anything better than anybody.
Okay. It's 1:30 here on the Joy Sports League on Joy 99.7 FM. Glad to know you're all tuned in, and happy 39th wedding anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Richard Dodson of Community 18. You've been listening to us very, very religiously over these years, and would like to say happy anniversary, 39th anniversary to you, Mr. Richard Dodson, and your wife, Mrs. Dodson. Congratulations to you once again, and keep listening. We'll keep it here. Continue to be addicted to our brand, because it's because of you that we're here. Now, some of the projections, wanting to see Kotoko play at the Club World Cup, for instance. That obviously means that you have to dominate at CAF level before you get the entry. There are a few people who have said, look, these are all ambitious ideas. So let's hold it on. Will Nana Amposa be wrong in wanting to see Kotoko play at the Club World Cup?
Not at all.
And that I saw you wanted to corner my brother. I knew you put it up. But you see,
remember we're still in the transfer season. The transfer window.
So the transfer window, when it comes to our colleagues in Kumasi, is interesting. It's for another program. But you see, you even mentioned when Kurt came here.
Yeah, sure.
It didn't happen just like that. I have Kurt's manifesto, and for some things he gave timelines, and you're seeing him taking. It's for Nanaya. I would like to. I know he presented it to the board. I don't know how much of it will be made public, but I would like to see
the blueprint.
Because everything should flow from a business plan. You call it manifesto, you want to call it whatever. Out of it will be how Kotoko will market it. Out of the business plan will flow the marketing plan, the communication stroke media, recruitment, that's HR, infrastructure. So then it provides a guidance as to the direction the club is going. So, but if you don't have those plans in place, he's from the inside. He was part of preparing the soup. So if he tells you there isn't enough fish inside the soup, you need not take a ladle to scoop. But it's not also about somebody ready to give you streaming equipment.
Yes.
It's about what your communication plan is. Then you know what you want to do with communication, staffing, what infrastructure you need. So for Nanaya, whether or not they want to go to the Club World Cup, that should be the ambition of but there should be a stepwise approach to it. We want to see the business plan, and he comes from a certain background. I mean, his whole orientation, at least we saw it being clearly communicated when he wanted to run for when he ran for the FA presidency. At least clearly stated stepwise approach, how he wanted to approach things, and I believe that that's how he wants to approach things. And for me as a journalist, I would like to have a look at what the bigger plan is, so that we'll be able to mark whether he's doing them. I'm sure there will be timelines as to how he wants.
Yeah, Morris, you've also brought my mind to something interesting here, that Nana Amponsa took part in the FA's election, and it shot him greatly. I mean, publicly. I mean, for those who are not necessarily within the GFA, it shot him into bigger. It shot Amanda Clinton big time into and it's helped her law practice as well.
Yeah.
Now, this is it. Considering the happenings of the week, where the decision or the verdict by the Court of Arbitration for Sport is still pending. Clearly, Nanaya Amponsa is not in the picture for now because he's taking a new role. Let's just quickly get into that matter and come back to it.
Okay.
We've been put on hold, so it means that then his constituency will be available to join someone in the instance where we have to go for another election.
Definitely, and the unfortunate thing is we don't know who comprise that constituency. The kind of people who are there and how that switch is going to happen. But to be honest with you, with the CAS issue, I would wish that something major happens. And I'm saying something major because with what number 12 did to our football, it clearly shows that we've not gotten out of the whole issue of lack of integrity, mistrust, corruption, bribery, whatever name you want to call it. We've not gotten out of it. So if the CAS verdict will come and it will either upstage the current system we have once again, or it will affirm those who are there, so be it. So that we do not come back wailing and crying over issues that are not resolved. Because Palmer went to CAS simply because he didn't have confidence in the system that could disqualify him. He didn't think they did the right thing. And so if it's going
and he wanted to clear his name as well,
yes,
because there were issues of integrity.
Yeah. And that's very important. That's what I'm saying. I would want something major to happen. Not necessarily a rerun, but I'm saying that something that will put a finality to all the talk about who is qualified and who is not qualified. Because these things are going to hurt our football. If you have people running football and the very people in the game believe that some elements in it do not have the integrity to run the game, then we're going to have problems. It will be difficult to sell your football club because as you go in and out to look for people to support what you are doing, the image out there is that you are not credible. So why should we associate with you? I am looking forward to a situation where if it should be that there should be a rerun, let us go for it. No matter how discomforting it will be, no matter how it will disrupt what Kurt has started, whatever. We have to get to the point where people or the public will have confidence in our football and believe that people who are running football in the country are not, excuse me to say, criminals. Because that perception was created at some point that those in Ghana football or people in Ghana football are rooks. And for me, that wasn't helpful. And it looks like with this case hanging, we are still having people who believe that, look, the guys in there are not serious people. How many months now? 8-9 months now, they are still fighting over one issue. That issue should get settled so that we are sure of where our football is going. As it is now, there are a lot of things Kurt is doing. But there are elements around who think that, look, he's not even fit to be where he is. So let's patiently wait for what CAS will do or what they will say on this matter. And once the matter is put to rest, we can really look forward to. Well, yesterday I saw something, and let me say this: I was a bit surprised that Palmer issued a statement, something like a statement, congratulating Nathaniel, and I was like, "This is not Tema Youth. This is Palmer." I saw the letter, and I was like, "In what capacity is he doing that? Personal capacity? What?" It creates a certain impression, and we need to get rid of these things so that we know where we are going with our game.
Also congratulate.
No, but Ket is the
president of the GFA. Yeah.
You see,
so he's saying the use of his letterhead
and not
Tema Youth, because
it's a P for P letterhead.
So it gives
because
the impression
if Frederick Moore was doing the same thing, he was doing it yesterday. He did it as CEO of Accra Hospital on behalf of the club.
It looks like we're still in campaign mood.
Well, that has some undertones. We're going to get into that. But there's one thing I want you to also respond to regarding Nanaia Amponsah and the FA presidency and how this Kotoko rule can prepare him for the future. You hold those thoughts there, Morris. I'll come to you in a bit. So you tell us how you feel this rule at Kotoko can fuel, that ambition, if he still has it, to become president of the Ghana FA. Now, Kojo Adai-Mensah has sent this message. He says, Herbert lost 4-0 to Hearts and he was not sacked. It is how he manages it. Honestly, if we win the CAF Champions League and lose 3 to Hearts in a row, I will take it. Okay, thank you very much, Kojo Adai-Mensah, for that message. There are a few messages that are hitting our console now. Fabulous, wow. Smiling through this discussion because it is about my hearty club, Krobia Asante Kotoko. Congrats to Nanaia and wishing him well. And I'm working hard to make our club greater must be the real agenda. I love Joy FM. I love Kotoko even more. This is from Ifya Yeb in Osu. Okay. And you too, Nati, and your panelists. Oh, we love you too. We love you too. Let's do some more on the text console. Remember, it's 0244340437. Nat, good show as always. With our new CEO's appointment at Kotoko yesterday, for a moment I thought I was listening to one of our politicians, so he should watch out with his promises. So Kotoko and Hearts are bigger than anything he has done in his life. Oh, we are here in Ghana. And a word to the wise. Godwin North Kanishi, thank you very much for that message. Let's do another one here. It's from Yao in Amasama. That's the correct pronunciation, isn't it? Informally known as Amasama. Now, hooray! Great club, great board, great CEO, great station, great show, great presenter. Your team is doing a great job. Kotoko is now climbing all the way up. Okay, thank you very much. It's climbing a fruitful tree. All should come on board and help build a great team. Thank you very much, Yao, for that message. Some more of your messages. Wilson and Capitol Hill. The problem of Kotoko is not Otumfuo. The problem of Kotoko is their penchant to recruit any performing player from other clubs, which invariably weakens the competition locally and results in player gloat at Kotoko. So they continue to be local champions, but not tried and tested enough when they go to Africa. Otumfuo knows this and he has issued directives on player recruitment. Apart from that, Kotoko concentrates on Hearts too much. There must be a paradigm shift. Wilson has raised another very important point, and Jerome, I'll be asking you about that as well when I'm done with my last message on our console. There's this one that comes from Cadman. Cadman, must one be an ardent supporter of big clubs in Ghana to occupy the CEO position? If yes, Nanaia ticks that box. Can that affect his tenure? Okay, all right. CEO, I'm not sure what exactly he's asking about.
Somebody asked him.
Okay, he's talking about the CEO position at Kotoko.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody
Well,
asked him. He gave a very good answer. Somebody asked that he's a Hearts fan, and he said, "Look, I'm a Asante Kotoko CEO." And for me, that is.
And about his role as well as director of his club, Far Rangers, he's stepping down.
Yeah,
he has stepped down this weekend. Very well. Okay. This is from DK. Okay, Bayern is no match for us, despite the fact that they beat us in the first round. Attoh, watch my lips and call me after the match. I will tell you the secret. DK, okay, I can't see your lips, Mom, but you know, I hear you. There's this one from Sir Prempe in Legon. Good afternoon, guys. Congratulations to Nanaia Amponsa on his appointment to the greatest club in Ghana. My advice to him is to revive the defunct supporters branches and serve their interest first. Okay, and this goes to confirm what Morris Kwanzaa was saying about interests and how these interest groups must be brought on board. Evans Goku Nananum in Mepa in the Volta region. Now, good afternoon, Nathaniel. Please tell your resourced man to think of building Asante Kotoko beyond beating hearts, but to conquer Africa and beyond. Okay, so now, I mean, the texters are talking about a paradigm shift at Asante Kotoko. That now the club has to start looking beyond beating hearts. How can that be achieved? Will the fans understand it? What kind of psychological processes would they have to go through to come to accept that, well, for a few years, for some 3 or 4 years, if we don't beat hearts, don't get angry? Is that possible at all?
Yeah, it is. Because Herbert did it. Like, Kojo sent a message saying, yeah, Herbert did it. I never liked the fact that Hasselhoff beat Kotoko 4-0 and even later 3-0. I've never liked it.
Charlie, Yembobium.
Yeah, it's 20 years or so for them to score more than 3 against us. Yeah. It's not anything any Kotoko fan would want to see happen. But the truth of the matter is that for us to become what we want to be, we need to do certain things differently. Like, I mean, from the way we have done it. And I've said that the problem we have had in recent years have been the fact that things have been done without anything on the ground. In 2015 or 2017, when we were going to Africa, there were management members who said we're going to win it. I mean, how do you win Africa in that state? So it brings me back to the point I made, how we are going to communicate whatever we want to do. I know a lot of Kotoko fans today, if you go out there telling them, look, give me time, I want to do this, they will give you that time. But then they will also be watching other areas. Are you doing what you said you will do? If you get to start, I mean, if you start work on the things that you say you are going to do, and they see it, even if we lose, there are some who, I mean, throw their hands in despair and say all manner of things. But the bulk majority would also give you that space and say, look, the man is doing a good work, let's support him. And that's the kind of support Herbert had. Look, in 1999, Kotoko was not even able to raise a team for a league match against Dwarfs. Now from 99, I think it was February or so, to December of 2002, we were playing in the Cup Winners' Cup final. 3 years or so, just 3 years. Yeah, people would say that time and now a lot has changed, I agree. But I'm saying that it can be done. It all depends on what we have on paper, which I have not seen it, but I've heard snippets of it. I have the confidence that if we are going to commit ourselves to doing it, we can do it.
Well, in a bit we'll activate the phone line so that you can join us here and articulate your thoughts. There's a message from the board chairman of the National Sports Authority, Honorable Kwejuba Ajman, who is a former member of parliament as well. I have worked with Nanayao at Far Rangers, and I know his ambitions and network, and I was able to have his vision for Far and football development. I think he has the powers to perform, and let's all true Kotoko faithfuls join and pray with him to give the club the corporate image we're all craving for. Kumasi Asante Kotoko Wukuma Pema Apem Beba. Thank you very much, Honorable Kwejuba Ajman, for that message. Okay, let's get on the phone line in a bit, and that will be 0302216541. 0302216541. Okay, now Morris, we're talking about the FA presidency and Nanayao's ambition. How does this role help it?
I think he's a smart and he's a smart and ambitious young man. I believe sometime in his life he will want to give it another shot. Kotoko. It's a big constituency, it's a big project, and I'm sure he wants to succeed. And if he does that so well, it will catapult him there. I mean, being a Kotoko CEO raises your profile. I mean, sometimes you have a profile as big as the FA president himself. So, and he knows that it's a very big platform to catapult him wherever he wants to. He has very good plans, and I'm only hoping that he will get the needed support from Menshia, from the board, from the supporter bodies and all relevant stakeholders to help him succeed. Perhaps, I mean, by providence, there isn't competitive football now, so he has some time to think through some of the issues. You may have some of these things well articulated on paper, but Kotoko itself, you get into the driving seat and you realize that some of the problems are systemic, and you need time, you need wisdom, you need some guidance to navigate them. He has time to put together his management thing and then get things moving along, but he needs to get engage the constituent bodies, engage them, let them see the bigger picture. That the picture is bigger than just beating Hartlepool. Look, sometimes, just like home, sometimes you want, let's say that you want to put out a house, resources are limited. You should be able to engage your wife, children, that look, let's cut down on certain things because there's a bigger picture. Let them buy into it, so that even when they lose, like Kojo Adai-Mensah and Jerome indicated, you lose against Hearts, embarrassing as it may, but you know that there's something bigger ahead.
Let's get on the phone line now. But just before we pick that call, Jerome, you were talking about communication and how much it has been underutilized or untapped in Asante Kotoko, and that reminds me of an article that Bill Eshan of Joy Sports wrote, and the title is Ghana's Premier League Top 10 Clubs, a deeper look in their evaluation. That will make a fantastic read. Click on the sports page of myjoyonline.com and search this story, Ghana Premier League Top 10 Clubs, a deeper look in their evaluation, and it gives you a thorough analysis of all of these areas. Let's get on the phone line now. Hello, good afternoon, and so sorry for keeping you waiting.
Hi, good afternoon, Matt.
Good to have you on the show.
Yes, that is Joseph Nko.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Joseph.
Okay. First of all, on behalf of the supporters from the National Circles Council, I would like to welcome Nathaniel Attoh to the African Team of the Century, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Yesterday was one of my happiest days in life as a Kotoko supporter, because it's something that we've been clamoring for. It's something that we've been appealing for a season and years, because we used to think that mostly when the appointment comes from Menshia, it gives us problems. So thank God Menshia has listened to us and to give us a board and give the power of attorney to the board to also get us a CEO. He's welcome. But what I would like to appeal to the rest of the stakeholders in the team is that he needs all our support. He cannot do it alone. We the supporters, I'm happy yesterday the National Circus Chairman, Christopher, pledged his support, and the others. You need all our support to be able to succeed. God bless Nana Amponsa. God bless Kotoko supporters. God bless Otunfo.
And God bless you too. Yeah, African Club of the Century. Hey, Charlie, these accolades. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Joy Sports League.
Good afternoon.
Can you reposition yourself, Bill? We're getting a bit of wind in your.
Good afternoon.
In the audio. Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Mark Miller. I'm calling from Tema.
Please go ahead.
First of all, let me use this opportunity on behalf of my team, Scoreline Ghana. We want to welcome Nana Amposa to one of the biggest clubs in Ghana. Football administration has been one of the tough challenge for most of our elite clubs here in Ghana, and I hope you look at his portfolio, the things he has done with Far Rangers. He's bringing something new. Jerome said something in the studio that if you look at comparing your arch rivals, as in beating Accra of focus an achievement by the end of your term, it means that you are still at a standstill. We should look at a broader view of going above the
our own territory, looking at the continent as a whole, and then bring on board almost everybody who is part of this football we call in the country. Look at Accra, Asofuk, and Kumasi Asofuk. They have most of the fans down there, and these people are neglected. It doesn't push the club at all. In his idea to come and change the style of leadership, I think if he's getting everybody on board, including the grassroots, Kotoko is going to become a very big club in the hands of Nathaniel Attoh.
Thank you very much. One more call.
Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
I'm great, thanks for asking. Go ahead.
I have two questions to ask. Number one, the issue with the sports arbitration. Can you please give us the genesis? Some of us are lost as to what the issues are that the guy was disqualified to contest. Did he also follow any process in Ghana? Do we have any such arbitration in Ghana? And if not, why doesn't he trust the Ghanaian system? And thinking that actually maybe going to make him rather lose the case. And the implication, for the GFA, are they going to hold a new election? Should he win the case? And why the sports arbitration is taking too long? Because it's obvious that he's going to win the case. Maybe they are looking at other issues, to handle. Now, my second point has to do with the COVID-19 protocol, other teams, the journalists in the studio. We know that people are struggling when it comes to the corporate world, private jobs, and all that. What about players? Are they also not struggling? Why are we not hearing from them? Or do they have packages for them? Thank you.
All right. So we've already been told that all athletes are receiving, money through the YEA for, and this amounts to 500 Ghana cedis, 500 Ghana cedis every month, right? So that one takes care of the bit where, where government is taking care of, our players and all of that, and our sportsmen and women, basically, in these COVID times. Now, very simple. We're running out of time. Let me just make this very, very brief. Now, the FA has made provision for a 10% deduction from transfer of players from the Ghana Premier League. Now, it was the case that Mr. Wilfred Osekweku transferred his player, Joseph Pencil, and there was a 10% deduction or a 10% fee of that transfer that he was supposed to pay to the FA, and that transfer was 3 million euros. So he was supposed to pay 300,000 euros to the FA. Now, he contested that, and he brought up cases of jurisdiction and where the player had to move from to his current club. And of course, during the screening process for all the aspirants, it came up, and it was used as a basis for disqualifying him. So he's gone to CAS to first of all clear his name and declare that process that was used to disqualify him as null and void, and also organize fresh elections to give every other contestant a fair ground and a fair platform to compete for the position of president of the FA. So that's, in a nutshell, is what's been happening. We've had 2 postponements for the announcement of the verdict by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. The new date is in the first week of September, so we're still waiting. Gentlemen, so many questions from our last call. Unfortunately, time will not permit us to answer all of them. But generally, it's more like his destiny is in his own hands. I mean, take certain key decisions and work towards them. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I have the confidence that he'll be able to do it. He needs the support of everyone at the club, and he should be firm. Firm and decisive. If he can do this, and also consult the right people, consult more, listen more, and then be decisive, because at the end of the day, it's you, not what people are saying.
Interesting stuff there. Morris, final thoughts as we wrap up.
Well, I think for him, because there's football, there's competition, suspension of competition, he has a bit of time. He won't be under too much pressure organizing things to play matches, to put his management team together, but he needs to do a lot of engagement, let people know and understand the vision and get them to rally behind him. I'm sure, he's a very ambitious person. I'm sure he has his eye on the bigger tickets, and he wants to succeed. I wish him well.
Thank you. Okay, so critical from the man Stoneboy, wrapping it all up for us here on the Joy Sports Link. Kwame Frimpong, aka Buffalo, has sent another message. He says, "Citizen, please tell your man in the studio that they have to do a lot to bring the old feeling back. When I say stay in Accra, but travel across to watch Kotoko matches frequently. Even in Accra, I go with my Hearts of Oak friends to the Accra Stadium to do against and be happy to see Hearts losing, because I thought Hearts were the rivals and a threat to winning the league. When it's Sunday, you close from church, you see Trotros loading to the stadium, and it was nice. So they have to bring it back." Greetings to all of you who did the listening. Thank you so much for doing the listening. To the Amwa family who are holidaying in Edukro, to Holali Nathaniel, your wife Ernie, and the children, baby Ellie and baby Kofi. They'll kill me for calling them baby Ellie and baby Kofi, but hey. Once again, we say happy 39th wedding anniversary to you, Mr. and Mrs. Richard Dadson. God bless you so much for being a big part of the Joy FM family. The ever consistent, adorable, and colorful Araba Kumsi is ready with the Joy headline news at 2. Live commentary comes up later on this evening. Showbiz A to Z comes up immediately after the news with Araba Kumsin. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sports.